Hi, I'm John.
I'm Tyler, and we're not those two. Today we're going to be doing a video for you. We're going to show you how to do the hood struts on a 2015 Mustang. This is something Ford should have done from the factory on the Ford Mustang, but they were a bunch of cheapskates and didn't. So it forces the consumer, us, to improve the car and do it ourselves.
I'm going to be installing these hood struts on my tricolor yellow GT Mustang. A little known fact, most people think Green Lantern's powers are weak to the color yellow. Actually, they're weak to fear. And on the emotional spectrum, rainbow, fear is regulated by the color yellow. Hence Sinestro's quirks and why they're stronger, because they're based off of fear. Step 1. The kit comes with 4 brackets. What you do with these brackets is place them on various points under the hood so that they're mounting points for the actual braces that will hold this up. What they look like is this. They're specific to the side and up and down, so you have to make sure you get the correct one. They should be labeled on your instructions. It's really easy to find out. What you do, you take the nut off the hinge and you place it on the stud that's connected to the hood. When you place it on the stud, you make sure it is flush with the flange on the side of the original bracket. What you need to do is get your 13mm socket and ratchet, and all you have to do is bust up the nut off of there. After you bust it up, after you break it loose, then it's real easy to break loose. They're not tight. You just take it off, you place that on, and you screw it back up. So I'm going to demonstrate this now with my 13mm socket and ratchet. I'm not very good with words, but we're going to keep going because I am sometimes good with my hands, not always though. It's the top one too. Make sure you know it's the top one. So when you take it, go ahead and you run it up, and as you get it, it is sitting flush with the flange. You can go ahead and hand tighten the nut as far as you can get it. Watch out for your washer fluid cord here, so that you don't bust that. You don't want a big old mess in your engine bay and stuff when you go to shoot it and clean your windshield. So I recommend not breaking that. And I also recommend turning your ratchet to tighten and not loosen, or you can't run this up. And remembering your left and right. I'm not good with that. Tyler, you weren't joking when you said this is a shitty ratchet. I think this is the right way now, guys. Bear with me, I'm retarded. Flush, tight, not over tight so you don't strip it. And we're going to repeat the same step on the other side, except slightly better with more experience. Now we're going to move over there.
Alright, so just as John said, we're going to do the other side just like he did. I decided I would do this one since John struggled a little bit with the tools. So I'm going to go ahead and knock out the same thing on this side.
Might be retarded.
Just like the other side, when you put this on, you want the bracket to sit down against that flange, and you have to hold it up there and tighten it down, just like John said, with your hands, as much as possible. And then put the ratchet on it. Make sure you turn the ratchet the other direction so that you're tightening. Just like that. This should be flush against the flange right here. The nut is tight, but not overly tight. You don't want to go too hard because you could strip that out. And that's it. We're going to go on to the next step.
So the next step, we're going to have to mark some things off because we're going to have to drill some holes. You know what they say? Measure twice, cut once. I don't normally follow that. I just kind of cut and hope it's good. But for the sake of this video, we already pre-measured this, but I'm going to show you what you have to do. The kit comes with a little plastic template. To get this template to work, right here on your battery cover, you got some push pins. You take this lowest push pin out, and there's a hole in your template, and you place it in. You reinsert your push pin back into the battery cover. Once you do that, you take your template, you move it around, and you line it up with this line that you see on the battery cover. Once it is lined up, then you know that's when you can make your mark. They suggest using a punch. We don't have a punch, so we're using a drill bit, and we're just kind of drilling it in and inserting it into the plastic to make our mark. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this to make sure it's still straight and make sure it's still good. And right there, I don't know if you can see it, but there's our mark where we're gonna be drilling. So the next step, you actually pull your other two push pins on the battery cover. So you go ahead, you unscrew them out, you pull them up gently so you don't break them. You really don't want to break them. And I'm not doing good. I got one out. Let me try to get this last one. It's in there pretty snug, like a snug on a bug or something. Failing here. Got it. Didn't break it. Thought I did. You thought I did too, don't lie. Then you pull your battery cover. There's your battery. Now we'll get into cutting things here in a minute after this take. See you in a second. Bye.
Alright, so in this step we have to drill the cover. We're going to use a pilot, we're going to drill a pilot hole first. We're going to use a small drill bit for that, and then we're going to swap out the drill to a bigger stepped drill bit like this, and we're going to drill it to the full size, which is 3/4 of an inch. And we're drilling it on the spot where we marked it earlier with the small drill bit. Okay, so there's our pilot hole. We're going to swap out our drill bits. And we're going to drill the bigger stepped. And once you're done with that, that's what you're looking for, is a hole in your cover. And that is just for one of the mounts that we put on the car earlier, where we're actually going to be putting on in one of the upcoming steps. The rod for the strut has to come up through that hole, to go up to the hood to be held. So that's why we're drilling that hole.
So for this next step, you take your lower brackets, you take the bag with the red triangle thing in it, and the bolt. What you have to do, you take the bracket and you place it on the bolt. You want the turning side of the bolt on top of the bracket. And you take your red nut, triangle nut, and you screw it in here, and you have about 3 threads left. Once you have that, make sure that you're taking the bracket and having the pointy piece that you'll attach your strut to later facing the outside of the car. What you have to do is you take this and you're going to place it in this hole in your fender here. You're going to dip it in so that it's angled correctly. It's a little more of a pain than you think. Make sure you actually have that space too, or it's not going in like it just did for me. And once you dip it in, make sure that you turn it and so that's facing out. And what you have to do, you have to keep pressure on the nut by pulling it and turning clockwise to tighten it. It's a really tedious process, but eventually the nut will tighten. I already did it on the other side because I don't want to take up too much of your time doing both of these. And the other side went a lot smoother. There it goes. I'm hand tightening it now. Make sure that this is lined up nice and flush with the fender, not up on one of the sides. There you go. It's nice and tight. So, something I forgot to mention to you in the last step. After you get it all the way hand tight, for your lower brackets, you need to take a ratchet and snug it up. I went ahead and did that. Sorry I didn't show you doing that, or showing me to show you doing that. You know what I'm saying. But you need to do that. Now what we're doing is just reinstalling the battery cover. Another thing we noticed when Tyler did his car, it was really snug and hard to get the battery cover on and off. So we went ahead and just kind of cut the battery cover out, put a notch in it so that it's flexible. We cut it all the way through, and it's flexible enough to bend around the lower bracket of the thing now. So simple enough. You have to place your pops back in for your battery cover. And by simple, I mean I am not good at it. There we go. First one's back in. You tighten it back up. And you do the same thing with the other two. and your battery cover is reinstalled.
Okay, so we're in the home stretch here on the hood strut install. The last step we're pretty much going to do, we're going to go ahead and attach the struts to the actual mounts that we just finished putting on. To do this, you basically are just going to take your strut with the gas cylinder part at the top. You're going to clip in your bottom, clip in the top, and then you're done. You're done with the hood strut. You can then remove the hood strut off the car, and these gas shocks will now hold your hood up, and bye-bye hood prop, which is terrible. Why Ford ever put that on the car, I don't know, but they did. So here we go. And I'm going to have John hold the hood up for me a little bit here so I can clip this in. And just like that. And now he's got the hood prop down, and as you can see, the hood is staying up all on its own. The hood prop is no longer needed. So coming up in the next step, we'll probably remove that and show you the finished product.
So we finished putting our red line hood struts in. It's holding the hood pretty well, and despite Ford's horrendous design of using this hood prop that may drop the hood on your head when you're working, these are pretty good. This is not pretty good. We're going to throw this in the trunk for the rest of eternity. You should probably not keep it in your trunk, but I keep everything in my trunk and it rattles around when I'm driving. It annoys people. Whatever, fuck it. I don't care. But we're going to take our 10mm socket and ratchet. We're going to take the 10 millimeter bolt out here, and then we're going to remove the hood prop, and we'll be complete. It's already loose enough to use my hand. Take it off, and you're done. So we finished our hood strut installation here. I think it's really cool that you can go ahead and buy your colored struts to match your car, so that's why I bought the yellow ones. I didn't know if we pointed that out earlier. You can get silver, black, or match your car color typically. I bought mine through JLT. I don't know if other places offer the same color or not, but there's just a couple of things we wanted to hit on before we exit the video. And I just want to say, please make sure you remember to tighten down those bolts that were on the lower bracket, because if you don't, who knows what happens. Your hood could pop up, hit your windshield, break it, you crash a tree, maybe die. I don't think you should die. I like you guys. Yeah, I think Tyler may have a couple of things too, but please don't die.
One of the other things would be, it does not tell you this in the instructions, but we found it works better if you cut a notch in the battery cover all the way out to the edge of the battery cover. John kind of touched on it earlier. Not only does it make it easier for the battery cover to slip down over the lower mounts for the strut, but it also allows you, if you need to remove your battery cover, you can remove it without having to undo the strut from the mount. And it's not that undoing the strut from the mount is such a difficult task, but from my experience, every time you do it, you have to use a small screwdriver, and you end up scarring and scratching the end of your strut a little bit. And you don't want to keep doing that over and over again and scratching and scarring that up, and eventually it starts looking bad. So just cut a notch all the way out to the edge of the cover. That way when you take it off, you can remove the cover without undoing the strut. That's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys liked it. I hope it helped somebody out. And don't forget to please like the video and subscribe to our channel, and we'll have more great videos coming to you very soon. Thanks.